Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Raj, your HR pal. A quick intro about me, I come with 2 decades of experience in the field of HR, served with top IT majors. In today's video, we will discuss about personality development. What is personality, right? Why is personality so very important? And what are the ways to improve your personality, right? So, in layman's language, personality is a reflection of who you are and how you interact with the world around you. Personality as a term is used to describe a set of enduring patterns, right? When I say enduring pattern, it means long lasting patterns of thoughts, feelings, behaviors that define an individual and distinguish them from others, right? So a personality makes an individual unique. I used to think earlier, especially the days when I was passing out from college and the early days when, I got into my career, that if I dress well or, have a good hairstyle or, use an expensive perfume, then I have a great personality, right? But then, over a period of time when I started reading books, hearing and being with people and the experience that taught me, realized that that's not what is personality, right? Personality means character, personality means behavior, personality means feelings, thoughts, and it still includes looks, right? A combination of all of these determines personality. With looks and no personality, people will definitely like us, right? People will be attracted to us by looking at us. But then, all of that is till they start talking to us or till they start interacting with us. Because, look is only the very first impression, right? But then, the personality defines, what and who you are. Alright, so why is personality so very important, right? There's only one answer to it. It is to grab people's attention, right? So let me elaborate this. Looks can attract people, right? But then that's only for a short period of time. Let me give you an example, right? So let's say you are given a choice to spend 2 hours in a flight with a person either who's very handsome or beautiful or a person who's very interesting. Who would you choose? It's obvious, right? You would choose the interesting person because looks is only for the initial period of time, okay? But personality is what is meant for long term, right? Personality decides how the person will look at you. The personality will decide how the person will respect you. The personality will decide how the person will have empathy and sympathy around you, right? The personality will decide how the person will interact with you, right? So hence, personality is so very important in everybody's lives. It could be the personal or professional life, and it also helps in its respective growth. Personality is an attainable skill, right? So let me elaborate this a little further. Okay? So from a look standpoint, right, we know that we cannot change it to a larger extent, right? It is maybe we can do a little bit of cosmetic changes to our face appearance or some makeup or some grooming, right? But then it has its own limitations. But personality is very different, right? Personality, if you keep practicing, right, it will only improvise over a period of time and it will help you create a great personality overall. Personality helps us to stand out of the crowd, right? So let me give you another example on a lighter note. Okay? Let's say you have to impress an opposite gender, right? So I completely agree that looks are very important here, right? But then remember, looks are only meant for the initial connection. Let's say what happens after some time or after your first date or after your first dinner or lunch, right? It is the personality that matters the most to take the relationship forward, right? Having only the looks and not the personality is not something which people would admire or people would like for. Remember, looks fade away, but not personality. Personality remains permanent as we continue working towards it. So how do we improve our personality, right? It depends on where you are, who you are, and who you are with, right? First is to be a good listener or an active listener, right? Very important, because many a times it so happens that we while we want to express what we intended, but then we fail to hear what the other person wanted to intend or wanted to respond to what you would have said, etc., right? So it is very important that when you are in a group of people and there is someone talking, right, you listen to them, you hear them out without any interruptions, because that itself is a huge skill for someone to have, right? Because unless you are able to listen to the other person completely, you would not understand the overall perspective of what the person is intending to tell, right? And hence it's one of the personality trait that one needs to have is to have an active listening skills. The second is to always be positive or to keep a positive outlook, right? This also defines on how people look at you, right? Because if even during difficult times, let's say you're talking positive, you're talking about a solution than what you have already gone through, or let's say you're in a situation in a group where there's been an escalation at a workplace, or there's something wrong that's happened, right? Instead of just creeping around on the problem, right, you trying to find a solution, you trying to be very positive and confident that this situation can be handled, right? I think, see, that can grab people's attention, right? The other aspect to it is also that how much are you avoiding to talk negativity, right? Negative feelings, negative emotions. Let's take another example. You're again talking in a group of people, and there's someone who's talking about another person, right, and bad mouthing, let's say, right? So if you're away from it, that's ideal, right? So unless let's say you're adding fuel to it, you're adding negativity to it, I think that's not the character that can grab people's attention. It's okay if you let go that set of people who are talking negative. We are not very concerned about them, because we are talking about those who can while it's important for you to have a positive outlook, it's also about people around you to have positive influences for you, right? So hence it is very important to have a positive outlook and always be with a positive mindset. The next is to work on your looks. I mentioned this, right? So while looks alone do not determine personality, but looks is a part of personality, right? When I say work upon your looks, it means work upon your grooming, work upon your hygiene. I don't mind if I say that you should smell good, because that's one of the key attributes of grooming, that you should smell good, right? It's not just about using a very expensive perfume, right? It's about being very hygienic, right? And that grabs people's attention, right? The other could be having a proper nail cutting, having a proper haircut, trimming your beard correctly, all of that, right? It's important that you give attention to your appearance, your hygiene aspects. Next is to have a smiling face. Very important, right? Because if you have to grab people's attention, right, you can't be serious all the time, right? People love to be with those who are fun loving, who can be humorous at times, or who can at least have smiling face, okay? Not somebody who's always serious, right? That can ensure that people can approach you without any second thought, right? The next is to correct your posture, right? The posture in which you stand, the posture in which you sit. You would I think it will be relatable, where imagine you are in a lobby, right? and there's someone, who's walking or standing with a dropped shoulders, right? So you might feel that, the person doesn't have energy at all. You wouldn't want to even approach that person, right? So, but let's imagine, someone who's very active, has the right posture, standing very stylish, right? So that itself is attractive, right? So hence, as part of our personality, it's important to correct our posture, use the right posture as needed, and ensure that we maintain and improvise on it. The next important way is to be polite, right? This is a magic quality, remember folks, right? Because if you have to grab people's attention, it is how politely do you respond, how politely do you handle situations. I'll give you an example. Let's say you go to a restaurant and the waiter delayed your order, right? It's very easy to do a hangama out there. It's very easy to shout at the waiter. But then remember, what would rest of the folks in the restaurant would think, right? That you are arrogant, right? So it is very important to be polite even during difficult situations, because that can make you be unique from others, right? So the most important way is to be yourself, and it's also important to accept yourself, right? While it is very easy to copy others, right, it is also very easy to agree or disagree to others' opinions. But then you having your viewpoint, you having your opinion, you bringing your input, you bringing your specialization to the table is very important, right? Because if you have to be unique, right, you got to have your own individuality. You got to prove that you are something different than the crowd, right? So it is important that you try to be yourself, right? You try to question yourself, you try to put across your emotions, feelings, thought process, and not just do because someone told you to do, right? If you feel that is not the right way of doing it, or that's not the right thing to do, right, it is good that it is preferred that you put across your opinion, right? You at least criticize, or you at least disagree, right? So that can make you unique. And very important is that it can also grab people's attention, because see, people are looking at you, and people will believe that it's not that someone is blindly accepting even if it's wrong, right? There's someone who's coming forward and fighting for something which is incorrect, or arguing for something which is incorrect, or at least voicing it out, right? So hence it's important for you to be yourself. One of the most important statement that I had read very recently was, don't look up to anyone, or don't look down on anyone, right? Very important, because while it is okay to say that I look up to a role model, okay, but you cannot be that person, because you are a separate individual, and every individual are unique in their nature, right? The other important aspect is to be punctual, right? Because it shows that you value other person's time, right? Because quite a few times it so happens that you are on time and the other person doesn't, right? It's okay, but you don't have to get influenced with that. It is very important to be punctual, to have the right personality, and that can help your personality being viewed very uniquely and positively by rest of them. The other is to be curious to learn new things. Remember folks, it is very important to have knowledge, right? Let's say you're with a group of people, and they are talking on a particular topic, and just imagine in one of the topics you don't even know what it is, right? That can sideline you from the group. You agree with me, I guess, right? If yes, put it in the comment section. The other situation is, let's say you are in a group of group of people, okay, talking about a topic, and you also have certain facts to share, you also have certain news to share. It can be something to do with current affairs, it can be something to do with, let's say, I'm just giving taking examples, it could be personal finance, it could be something to do with education, anything, right? You also have certain points to share, you also have certain opinions to make, right? Then the crowd or the group would value what you say, okay, or also acknowledge that you are knowledgeable, right? And all of this knowledge comes with learning new things, right? It's not just about remaining with what you already know, right? It is okay, you would already know certain things, good, but with the way the world is changing, right, it's very important for you to keep learning new things. When I say new things, it's not just about a skill, it can be an information, it can be a news, or being with people itself can teach you many attributes, right? So always be curious to know and learn new things. The next most important is etiquettes or manners, right? Because if you have to grab attention of people, if you have to be unique from the crowd, then you got to have the right etiquettes, or you got to have the right manners. It could be the way that you talk to people, it could be the language that you are using, it could be the mode of conversation, it could be the way you are dressed, it could be how you respect people, all of that, right? So there are many manners which all of you are already aware of. So having the right manners and using those manners in a group of people, or at your workplace, or where you study, etc., right, makes you unique. Other tip is to be an executionist. Very important, because we would encounter in our daily life, there are people who keep talking, right, who keep saying that I will do this, that, all of that, but then they actually do not do it, right? So it is very important that when you say something, right, you also achieve it, or it's okay not to say, right? And let's say there's a meeting room, there are the group of people sitting in the meeting room, there's a pin drop silence, right? There's no one to actually start the meeting, or things are so very slow and dull there, right? So take initiative to talk, right? Take charge of the situation, because that can make you unique from the rest, right? Take charge of the situation, talk, get in the mood in the meeting room. Maybe if there are people who are hesitating to talk, but then they have some viewpoints, be the one who can actually consolidate, who can bring the discussion to life, right, and get a decision out of it. So it's very important to take charge and also be the decision maker, right? Because there are many people, many times you would see that you ask something to a person and he says, okay, let me check and come back, right? So while this is how we see people at large, okay, but if you have to grab, or if you have to have a great personality, it's very important to have a decision making skills, right? So take decisions, make decisions. It's okay if you fail, because you would learn from it, right? But then make that firm decision. I think these tips helped you, right? So it's very important for one to have the right personality, right? And personality can distinguish you from the rest of them. It can help you in your personal life, it can help you grow in your career, and it can help you being the one that people would like to be with, right? When we discuss about looks as part of personality, right, so looks constitute to only 30% of the personality. The rest 70% are the attributes that we discussed throughout this video, right? It could be the emotions, it could be the politeness, it could be the punctuality, it could be being knowledgeable, it could be our appearance, it could be everything possible, right? Whatever we've discussed so far. So while looks are very important, okay, it is very important to have rest of the attributes as well, okay, to develop a positive personality, And remember, folks, it's not an overnight process, right? It's a lifelong process. It involves in understanding ourselves better. It involves, identifying our strengths and weakness, and taking steps to improvise it, right? I hope you liked the video and it was helpful for you. If yes, like the video, share it with your friends, family members and people in your community, so that rest of them also get benefited out of this content. And if you have not subscribed to my channel, do subscribe and also click on the bell icon so that you get notified when I upload any new content, right? Thank you very much for watching, and I wish you on your journey towards your personality development.